Let's be honest, the moment you think you've got women figured out, that's the exact moment you're walking straight into a trap. It's not about being handsome, rich, or even confident. It's about subtle psychological mistakes that even the smartest men fall into every single day. And most of them, they never even realize what's happening until it's too late. Here's the brutal truth. Women are constantly reading you. Every word, every action, even every pause you take. It's all being measured. And if you slip, just once, they'll notice, and your perceived value plummets instantly. Smart men avoid this, not because they're naturally perfect, but because they understand the psychology behind every interaction. They understand the silent, invisible rules that govern attraction, and they never break them. Most men make the first mistake before she even speaks. They overinvest too soon, sending too many texts, over-explaining themselves, or trying too hard to impress. You've done it. Don't lie. And let's face it, every time you overinvest, you chip away at your own value. Women feel it immediately, even subconsciously, and it triggers a mental switch. Suddenly, you're available in the worst possible way. The second mistake, reacting instead of acting. A smart man doesn't chase validation. He doesn't get jealous over a story she posts or panic when she doesn't reply fast enough. Most men, though, forget this and let their emotions dictate their decisions. They beg for attention in ways that destroy attraction, thinking they're showing care, when in reality, they're signaling neediness. And here's what's terrifying. You can spend years perfecting every other aspect of your life, but if you act from weakness around women, all that effort crumbles. Third, many men underestimate the power of silence. Yes, silence. The strategic pause, the absence of constant messaging, the ability to let a woman think and wonder. These are not games, they're fundamentals of human psychology. The smart men know that by mastering the art of holding back, they create a magnetic pull that women can't resist. It's a delicate balance. Too little and you're invisible. Too much and you're reckless. Now, here's a fourth trap, giving unsolicited advice. Every man thinks he's helping, that he's being supportive, but if it's not earned, she perceives it as criticism. Women crave emotional intelligence, not solutions. Smart men understand when to speak and when to listen, and they never cross that invisible line. By now, you might be wondering if you've already fallen into some of these traps. The truth? Almost every man has at some point. The difference is recognizing it before it becomes a pattern that destroys your chances of genuine connection. And once you see the invisible threads, you start to understand something critical. Every choice you make, even the smallest one, sends a signal that either elevates or diminishes your value. Most men sabotage themselves without even realizing it. They ignore the invisible cues women send and fall for traps that smart men spot instantly. One of the deadliest mistakes? Misreading interest. Just because she laughs at your jokes or smiles when you're around doesn't mean she's interested. It's a subtle psychological dance, and most men step on the wrong foot. Women give signals in whispers, not shouts. A glance that lingers, a touch that brushes past casually, the way she leans in when you speak. All of these are data points. The mistake is thinking you can shortcut understanding. You can't. Smart men observe, connect the dots, and respond deliberately. They know that mistaking friendliness for attraction is a fast track to heartbreak, frustration, and wasted time. Then there's the trap of over-communicating. Sending memes, long texts, or even daily good morning messages can feel harmless, but it's not. Every time you flood her space with attention, you erode desire. Women crave challenge, tension, and the thrill of uncertainty. Smart men understand that absence creates value and that restraint is far more powerful than relentless pursuit. Another deadly mistake is ignoring her emotional landscape. Women test without realizing it, and the smartest men pass these tests effortlessly. They never overreact, never take things personally, and never reveal desperation. Most men, on the other hand, respond emotionally, jealousy, frustration, anger, and instantly fail. And here's the thing, it's not about being perfect. It's about being anchored, steady, and unshakable. That stability signals power, value, and security, all things that draw women in unconsciously. Let's talk about a mistake most men never even consider, trying to control the narrative. Many men want to correct a woman, tell her what to do, or steer the relationship according to their plan. It feels logical, but logic isn't what drives attraction. Women respond to men who influence subtly, who lead without demanding, who create an environment where she wants to follow rather than feeling forced. Smart men get this intuitively. Others learn it the hard way. Finally, the trap of inconsistency. Showing one version of yourself one day and another the next creates confusion. Women instinctively scan for reliability. It's a survival mechanism wired deep in their psychology. When your words, actions, or energy contradict, it creates doubt, disinterest, and emotional distance. Smart men maintain a consistent sense of self, not because they're rigid, but because they know the magnetic pull of a stable, confident man is irresistible. Here's the harsh reality. Every mistake you make leaves an imprint on how she perceives you. Miss one cue, overstep one boundary, react from weakness once, and suddenly the connection fades. But the smart man, he notices, adapts, and navigates without compromising his value. He understands that women aren't puzzles. They're emotional ecosystems. And to move within that ecosystem successfully, you have to master the invisible rules, not just the obvious gestures. Nothing exposes a man's weakness faster than trying to rush intimacy. Most men think attraction is built by closeness, by sharing secrets, by constant contact. That's exactly what kills desire. Smart men understand the subtle art of pacing. They know that if you reveal too much too soon, you turn intrigue into familiarity. And familiarity, when unearned, is the silent killer of attraction. Think about it. A woman's brain is wired to chase what is slightly unpredictable. It's not about playing games, it's biology. Uncertainty, curiosity, and emotional tension keep her invested. Give her everything immediately, and you remove the spark. Smart men know the power of slow reveal. They allow attraction to simmer, never forcing it, never over-explaining, never apologizing for the pace. Then there's the mistake of trying to fix her mood. Women often test indirectly through subtle shifts in energy, tone, or body language. A man who panics, argues, or overcompensates signals low value instantly. The smart man doesn't react. He observes, understands, and acts only when it serves a higher strategy. He doesn't solve her problem. He creates space for connection and lets desire unfold naturally. Most men also forget the emotional economy of words. Every sentence you speak carries weight, consciously and unconsciously. Oversharing, over-apologizing, or explaining motives dilutes attraction. Smart men speak with precision. They know the tension in a conversation isn't a flaw, it's a tool. A well-timed silence, a measured compliment, or a subtle tease can trigger desire in ways endless explanations never could. Another trap is neglecting the power of presence. Women sense authenticity and confidence in subtle ways. The steadiness of your voice, the way you move, even how you occupy space. Men obsessed with impressing through words alone often fail to realize that presence is the invisible magnet that draws women in. Smart men cultivate presence first. Words are secondary. Presence communicates value faster than any effortful action ever will. And let's not ignore the mistake of neglecting boundaries. A man without boundaries is a man without value. Saying yes to everything, bending to every whim, and avoiding conflict may feel safe, but it destroys desire. Smart men maintain boundaries not to control her, but to preserve their own identity. Boundaries signal self-respect, which women interpret as strength, security, and leadership. Without it, attraction erodes silently but irrevocably. Finally, most men underestimate the impact of the unseen signals, subtle gestures, the right touch, timing, eye contact, tone. These aren't tricks, they're language. The smartest men read it, respond with precision, and create an emotional rhythm that pulls a woman closer without her even realizing why. Mistake one misstep, and the rhythm breaks, desire fades, and attraction dies. Here's the unspoken rule. Women may never say it out loud, but they feel everything you do. Every hesitation, every insecurity, every overstep, it accumulates in her mind. And while most men stumble blindly, smart men move with quiet, invisible strategy, creating desire without forcing it. They don't chase, they orchestrate. They understand the psychology that most men ignore entirely. One of the deadliest mistakes smart men avoid is confusing attraction with affection. Most men think that attention, compliments, or flattery automatically build love. They don't realize that what women crave first is respect, intrigue, and challenge, not validation. Affection too early or too freely can feel comforting, but it kills desire before it even starts. Think about it. Every woman evaluates your value unconsciously, constantly. She measures confidence, consistency, emotional control, and the subtle ways you handle yourself in any situation. A man who bends over backwards to be liked signals desperation, and desperation is the fastest way to exit attraction. Smart men know that desire is emotional currency, and they never give it away without earning it. Then there's the trap of chasing approval. Many men, even successful, intelligent ones, seek validation through actions or words. They try to prove themselves, to show they're worthy. But attraction doesn't work like that. Women feel neediness instantly. The smartest men maintain internal approval. They know that true value is self-contained. They don't rely on her response to feel worthy, and this invisible strength makes them magnetic. Another mistake is ignoring the power of emotional triggers. Women respond to men who can subtly guide feelings without manipulation. The smartest men understand how to create tension, anticipation, and excitement without force. They know that a teasing word, a playful challenge, or a well-timed silence can trigger emotions far deeper than constant attention ever will. Most men never notice this. They overwhelm with presence instead of directing it strategically. Then there's the trap of over-explaining intentions. Men love clarity, but women process attraction differently. Over-explaining is perceived as insecurity. Smart men never justify their moves. They act from internal certainty. Their decisions create respect, curiosity, and emotional pull. You don't have to explain why you're not texting back immediately, why you didn't reply to a comment, or why you chose to prioritize your life. Silence often says more than words ever could. The fifth mistake? Misreading comfort for commitment. Women often test to see if a man is steady, reliable, and anchored. Many men misinterpret this as deep emotional connection and overinvest. Smart men recognize testing for what it is. They pass it calmly without overreaction. Emotional stability is not just attractive, it's essential. Panic, jealousy, or overcompensation is the fastest way to trigger disinterest. Finally, the most overlooked mistake is ignoring the long game. Relationships are psychological ecosystems. Small missteps compound into large consequences. Smart men understand that every interaction, text, glance, tone, and timing matters. They move with strategy, not manipulation. They know that attraction is built silently, subtly, and consistently. Every choice signals value, whether you intend it or not, and one wrong move can erase weeks of progress. Here's the reality: women feel everything you do, even when they don't say it. Each mistake sends ripples that weaken desire. But a smart man moves with awareness, control, and subtle psychological mastery. He knows when to act, when to hold back, and when silence speaks louder than words. And that difference? That's the line between being forgotten and being irresistible. One of the most dangerous mistakes men make is confusing attention for attraction. A woman can laugh at your jokes, respond quickly to your messages, and even touch your arm casually. And a man who doesn't understand psychology will think it's love. It's not. It's curiosity, comfort, or even testing. Smart men know the difference. They never let surface-level signals dictate their emotions or actions. Think about it. Women are wired to test value constantly. Every interaction, every glance, every small hesitation is a measure of your worth in her mind. The man who overreacts or assumes interest is already signaling low value. He's giving away desire without earning it. The smartest men don't just see the signals, they interpret them and they respond with calculated confidence. This invisible awareness is what separates men who attract effortlessly from those who struggle endlessly. Another fatal mistake is emotional oversharing. Most men believe vulnerability builds connection, but if it's premature, it destroys intrigue. Revealing too much of your feelings or past before she's ready triggers psychological closure. Women stop chasing when they feel they've figured you out. Smart men understand the balance. They're authentic but measured, revealing only enough to deepen attraction while keeping mystery alive. Then there's the trap of chasing availability. Men think if they're always there, always agreeing, always accommodating, they'll secure her heart. The truth is the opposite. Availability without value kills attraction. Women crave challenge, tension, and subtle emotional pursuit. Smart men are present but not desperate. They manage their time, attention, and energy strategically, creating scarcity that increases desire without manipulation. Mistake 5 is misreading validation as intimacy. Compliments, gifts, or small favors might earn temporary approval, but they don't create emotional pull. Women want men who are anchored, confident, and steady, men whose self-worth isn't dependent on her reaction. Smart men know that emotional independence is magnetic. They operate from strength, not need, and this invisible power draws women in without forcing a connection. Finally, most men underestimate the psychological pull of presence over performance. Being emotionally grounded, confident, and consistent creates an invisible attraction field. Trying too hard to impress, to perform, or to win affection signals insecurity. Smart men know that attraction isn't earned through effort. It's felt through energy. Every look, touch, or pause can communicate far more than words. They understand this deeply and move with effortless magnetism. Here's the truth you need to hear. Every mistake you make leaves a mark on her subconscious. Overinvest, misread signals, overexplain, or overshare once, and desire fades quietly but irreversibly. Smart men avoid these traps because they see the invisible rules most men never notice. They understand that attraction is subtle, cumulative, and psychological. And when you grasp this, you move from chasing to commanding interest effortlessly. Another fatal error is neglecting self-mastery. Most men focus only on external success, money, looks, status, thinking it guarantees attraction. It doesn't. Women are wired to detect inner strength, discipline, consistency, resilience, and emotional intelligence. These qualities create a magnetic force that no superficial charm or fleeting effort can match. Smart men build themselves first. Attraction follows naturally. Then there's the trap of reacting to every test or challenge. Women often test indirectly, not to manipulate, but to see stability, confidence, and leadership. A man who overreacts or becomes defensive fails instantly. The smartest men pass these tests without knowing they're being tested. They maintain calm, composure, and control, and that alone triggers desire. Most men also ignore the power of tension and anticipation. Desire is strongest when it's slightly unfulfilled, when curiosity remains, when every interaction carries subtle emotional weight. Over-availability, oversharing, and over-explaining destroy this tension. Smart men carefully manage presence, attention, and timing. They understand that attraction is an invisible current, and they create it with deliberate precision. Finally, the most overlooked truth: women remember how you make them feel, not what you do for them. Smart men realize this and focus on emotional impact over material gestures. A well-timed look, a confident silence, or a playful tease can create far more pull than any text, gift, or promise ever could. Desire is emotional, subtle, and psychological, and the smartest men navigate it with mastery. Here's a challenge for you. Think about the last time you felt unsure or desperate in a woman's presence. Now imagine the opposite, calm, anchored, magnetic. What would change if every choice you made increased your value instead of decreasing it? Write your answer in the comments below. And if this opened your eyes, like this video, subscribe and share it with a friend who needs to hear this truth. The rules of attraction are invisible, but once you see them, nothing can stop you.